Ready to go? Okay, I think, I would tell you when I told the players, I think ultimately um, when we don't have success and we don't play quality football on Saturdays, it's my responsibility. Everything that happens within our organization from top to bottom is under my direction and control, and certainly I take full responsibility for that. I do think, players are young people. They come to the University of Florida. We provide structure. We provide routine. We teach football. We teach values. We teach a way of life. But ultimately, at some point, it becomes about production, and we have not played 2 out of 3 weeks here. We have not played good enough football in many parts of our team at all. So today, obviously couldn't capture any momentum early. I think we struggled to stop them. I think we had multiple opportunities to get off the field, and we could not. The play count got way out of hand. It was like 53-18 at halftime. Time of possession was very distorted there, and I think maybe we had 3 real possessions there on offense. And we did have a possession right there before the half. I think there was 40-something seconds left. So did score the first possession of the second half, got it back to 2 scores, and then we quickly gave up. 2 plays later, we gave up an explosive pass with a mental error in the secondary. So, we couldn't run it, and they obviously rushed it effectively, and they beat us today. Give credit to their backup quarterback. I thought he played a good football game. They used his skill set, and he caused issues for our team today. What questions do we have?
I mean, Billy, you take responsibility, but how do you explain just the team coming out so flat for such a big game like this?
Well, I don't necessarily think we were flat. I don't think that we executed. I think we actually had, we came right in after the rain delay and watched every single clip, and I think there was, I think there's opportunities to make plays. I think there's mental errors. I think there's fundamental mistakes. I do think that, we just didn't have the ball, and then obviously they kept the ball, so it got out of control early there. And look, we have to play complementary football. That's the type of team that we have. If we're out of whack in one area, it's certainly not good for our team.
Is there something you can pinpoint defensively right at this point? Just not.
I think we struggled. We struggled. We struggled getting lined up and executing basic calls. Just to be quite honest. I mean, we got the guy dead to rights handful of times in the first couple drives of the game. His legs caused some issues for us. We lost contain one time. We missed the guy for a sack one time. And then we got a couple busts in the secondary. We forced them to a field goal, but then here we go again, right? So I'll be able to tell you more Monday, but overall, but just tell you not good defense. That's about as simple as I can put it.
2 defensive penalties also were pretty critical in keeping 2 touchdown drives alive. I mean, does it get to the point where we have to bench guys over that, or how do you fix the mental errors with regards to that?
You're talking about the targeting and the holding penalty? Yeah. I'd be interested to see the video for the targeting. They told me he used the crown of his helmet. We'll see what that looks like. We'll obviously ask for interpretation on that. And then the holding, the guy, there's no doubt, the guy ran a wheel route, kind of a little bit of a tug on the jersey there on their sideline. I think ultimately those players, they committed penalties.
Billy, getting booed is part of the job, but that was pretty loud and pretty intense at the end of the first half, and again, leaving the field. What's that feel like for you, and do you think you deserved a chance to get this thing turned around?
Well, I don't blame. I have no excuse, and I have no negative comment about that. I mean, ultimately, when you play a certain way in this arena, you're going to be criticized, right? So this is one of those places where there's history and tradition and expectations. There's been a lot of really good football teams that played in that stadium in the past. When you play ugly ball, and maybe it doesn't look quite like we all want it to, then, hey, it comes with the territory. So, I probably would have done the same thing, truth be known.
What gives you confidence that you're the right man for this job?
Well, I think that ultimately, we've worked extremely hard, and I think there's been a ton of progress made. I think what my frustrations are with how we've played, 2 out of the last 3 weeks. That's where my frustration is. I think we've done a lot of good, in terms of behind the walls and just the organization as a whole. I truly believe that, and I think most people that have familiarity with our program would say that. So we're not getting the result on the field right now that we want. But ultimately, that's how you're judged to some degree in this arena, right? So it comes with the territory. We all understand that as coaches. So we have to play more competitive football. We have to play better quality football, and that's my responsibility. So, we spend a lot of time. We work extremely hard. We have good people, but this is a production business, and ultimately we got to play better.
Coach, both sides of the line of scrimmage, I think, against the Power 4 teams have struggled, but specifically offense, the offensive line. You've stated the importance of having 2 coaches. Have you guys recruited and developed well enough to play this level of competition there?
Well, I think if you watched the Miami game and the Texas A&M game, you would say no. So ultimately, we got to do something to fix it. And that's about as simple as I could put it. We have struggled to rush the ball, and we have struggled to protect the ball. Protect the quarterback, right? So now, is that group working hard? Do they have good intentions? Yes, I think so. But we certainly, that's our responsibility, right? And when it's not good enough, as coaches, it's our responsibility. So, and I do think there's an element of it. There is an evaluation and recruitment and a development part, developing some cohesion with that group, trying to build a veteran group. But we haven't played well enough up front on offense in the opener or today. That's about as blunt as I could be.
Coach, when you talk about the intention to get better and to prepare, are you starting to see things, or have you seen things in the first 3 games that are uncharacteristic of what you might be seeing during the week, where, it's things that are being taught but then not being transferred on game day to the play?
Yeah, I think that's some of the frustration. We come right in during the lightning delay and watch the tape. It is what it is. What's on that tape is who we are. And I think we tell the players that, and I would tell the assistant coaches that. Our film is our resume. And ultimately, we have to do a much better job.
And what's your message when you see those things that are uncharacteristic on a continuous basis? Is there messaging that you've leaned on, or is it just something that continues to work itself out in your experience?
Well, they know. Players are very aware. I think ultimately it's not like they don't understand or not aware. They completely understand and are aware that, hey, it didn't do what I was supposed to do at times, right? Or maybe made a poor decision or used the wrong technique, whatever the case may be. Look, I think my message to the team, the number one thing that's critical for that group is that they stick together, right? Because ultimately, that's what they'll have. When 25 years from now, they're going to have those relationships with their teammates. It's critical, regardless of how negative it may be and will be outside. It's important that they stick together, right? And really, behind the walls, that's all they have. And we may not be able to control what people say about us on the outside, but we can control what we do on the inside and how we, the words we speak, the actions that we take, our attitude, our effort, our approach. And that'll be the challenge, right? That'll be the challenge. Can they do that, and can we improve? Can we find ways to eliminate some of these issues and play better football going forward? So, that's what I told the players, and ultimately I think that's what's most important at this point.
With regard to some of those errors, is there anything that you can pinpoint with your process and practices, whatever the case may be, that's led to some of these repeat issues, missed tackles, and poor offensive line technique? What is there anything in the process that you see as a kind of a fault?
If I knew that, we probably wouldn't have the issues we have now, right? So, I mean, ultimately, I'm trying to solve those problems. It's my responsibility to do that. So, yeah, I mean, that's what we're doing. We're in the process of trying to figure those things out.
Billy, the quarterback situation today, how do you feel like that played out, and do you regret not sticking with Graham after that touchdown drive he had in the third?
No, I think ultimately we have a really talented young player, and we have a really talented veteran player that's experienced and has great command and knowledge of our system. We ultimately made a commitment to rotate the players a certain progression, a certain way, regardless of the outcome, basically just to keep those guys in a good frame of mind relative to not looking over their shoulder. They have a really good relationship. They work hard together to prepare together. It's incredible to see them interact, throughout practice, meetings. Even when we told them in the meeting, hey, this is the approach we're going to take, they fully supported each other. So, I think we felt like it was in the best interest of the team to do it that way. We did it, and I don't necessarily think that was one of our, that wasn't the reason that we got beat today. I think there were a lot of other things that contributed to that.
2 questions left. Over 300 yards on the ground. What did you see there, and how disappointing was that from your defense?
Yeah, it's disgusting. And ultimately that's my fault. We need to do much better.
Billy, I know you're a process-oriented guy and you focus on the process, but when you zoom out and you look at the macro in year 3, what do you see?
Not good enough. Not good enough against Miami, not good enough today. We've done a lot of good, behind the scenes in terms of building infrastructure. We've got a great organization of people, but the quality of football in the opener and today, not up to standard. I think we played some good football at times and got beat, and maybe I've been able to stand up here and say, hey, we did a lot of good things. We're close, but that's not been the case. So that's the facts. So we have to do much better.
Do you feel like you're making progress?
I think that we've made progress in a lot of areas. I just don't think that the quality of that football out there is what I would like. And look, again, we got a lot of people taking ownership, that are not in this room, and I think that's a good thing. But we got to get it fixed.
Hey, Billy, I know there's not a lot of patience in this profession, but what is your sense of where the patience is with you and this administration, and how important is it for you now to be patient, stay the course during what's clearly a tough time for this program?
Yeah, I think the most important thing is that we make decisions with perspective. I think we got to try to be objective. That's the biggest challenge in leadership, I think, is kind of trying to put your ego on the shelf a little bit and evaluate things objectively and try to make decisions that reflect that. And look, for me, all my decisions are about stewarding the people that have been entrusted to you, the players, your staff members. And ultimately, that's how I try to view it. That's my responsibility to the players to do better for the players. And that's probably what I struggle with the most when we don't play well. You know, is what can I do to help those young people in that locker room? You know, because I've seen them work their tails off since January. Yeah, you want the reward for the player, and I think that's what motivates me. All right, thanks, guys.
Cameras, let me know when we're all good. Just a heads up, guys, just so for timing, we'll do a little bit of grand podium, and we'll take it to the side and bring Devon to the podium, just so far. We'll start with Edgar, right in front of you.
Yeah, Graham, welcome back for one.
Thank you.
Concussion. But just where is this team at mentally right now? I mean, two big games weren't really even in either of them. And what are you guys kind of telling yourselves right now about where the program is?
Yeah, I mean, I think all the guys in that locker room, I mean, they're tired of losing. I think that if you've ever been on a team and you've lost a big game, or you lost a game at home in your high school, you feel like you let your fans down, you let your team down, and we don't want to feel that anymore. You know, I think that the guys in that locker room, I just got done talking to a few of them, but that's where we're at, and we know what it takes. And yeah, I mean, reality is we got our butts kicked today, and early. I mean, it was weird for the offense. Just I think we had 12 snaps in the first half. That was just showed us that the amount of drives we were getting in the second half, we had to maximize them. And there's no time to waste, especially in SEC play. You need to start fast, and you need to get that going, and that starts during the week. So I think looking back at just what we've done, I mean, we need to have more urgency in practice. And we have great plans, but it's on us players to execute them during the week and really sharpen that blade going into the game.
Tremendous heat on Billy right now, and he's 12 and 16, I think, at UF now. And what would you just kind of say to outsiders? People are just saying it's not working, and your support of Billy, basically.
Yeah, I mean, he has my absolute full support. I've never seen somebody prep the way that we prep, that we prepare the way we prepare. But yeah, I mean, we have a great plan going into every game. I know everybody in the locker room trusts Coach with everything we got, and it's up to us, honestly. It's up to us and what we do during the week, what we do during the game. Are you playing with heart or are you not? And I think that's where us as a team, we need to come together, and the players need to we need to play the ball that we know we can play. And so I think that really it's we have so many resources during the week that we prep, and our coaches are fantastic. And I think that we need to do a better job as players of putting ourselves in the right position and executing. But no, he has my absolute full trust. I know as an outsider, I mean, you're not in the building every day. You don't see it, what we do every day. But somebody that's been in there for, a year and almost 2 years, there's nobody I'd rather play for.
Graham, what was your assessment of the two quarterback system, and did you feel like when you cut a little fire there in the second half, and then to have to kind of sit after that, was that frustrating, disappointing, anything like that?
No, I mean, anytime you have an opportunity to go out and play, it's up to us to go out there and execute it. So for me, I mean, you can't let the factors of what's going on take you away from doing your job. And for me, it's every time I step out there, any play that's called, it's up to me to make it right. So there's no time to sit in self-pity when you're in an SEC football game.
I think they came into the game 110th in the country against a run. How surprising was it that you couldn't get that aspect of the game going on offense? And were they overloading a little bit, or what were some of the reasons why you couldn't get the run game going today?
Yeah, I mean, we knew that just their philosophy. They're trying to get extra hat in the box in a bunch of different ways. A lot of middle close zone. fitting the box from safety level with speed. So, I mean, for us, we just got to get all 11 moving as one. And that's what we'll be harping on all week. Look, if we want to establish the front, we want to run the ball, we need to do it every single day. And I think that that's one thing that I can do a better job of getting guys the simple, hey, there's a guy coming from the field right here, little simple alerts so I can help and just do my job better to make us all move as one. So I think we all need to do a little self-reflection on how we can do our job better to free up everybody to go play.
It looked like there was some timing off on some handoffs too, kind of early in the game, with you and Montreal and stuff.
Yeah, it was a simple miscommunication. We had a run called. So, yeah, can't have that.
You had a few more deep balls than usual today, a couple of completions that went for 20, 30 yards. Were you trying to air the ball out a little bit more to kind of complement your compatibility with DJ and the receivers, or was that just natural instinct?
No, I was trying to win. I was trying to do my job. I was trying to execute any play that was called. I just go out there and try to make my reads and do my job, man.
And then obviously the fans had a lot to say this week about the quarterback competition. How do you avoid just letting that get to you on a personal level in the days coming up to the game or as you take to the field?
Yeah, I mean, I think that it just goes back to like what you pay your attention to. I mean, we knew during the week, like DJ had a great game last week, and it's like it's no surprise that we were going to do that. So for me, it was like I said earlier, it's so easy to make this game a lot more complex than it is, but you can simplify it and realize that look, I got a job I got to do, and when my number gets called, I got to go out there and execute. So, like I've said a few times, I mean, I like to simplify this game and just try to go do my job.
We've talked to you quite a bit about, how strong the culture is and the togetherness. How important is that right now?
That's the most important thing. I think that, I mean, I was on a team that at Wisconsin, we started, 1-4, and we won out. And it was a credit to the guys that we had on that team, the coaches we had on that team, guys coming together. I mean, we all know there's going to be a lot of noise, and it's up to us players what we pay attention to. Is it each other, or is it what's going on externally? Is it doing our job, or is it something else? So we're going to rely on the older guys that have been through a lot of these experiences. I mean, I shared it with Chim when we were at Wisconsin. We know what it looks like. We know that it just all comes down to winning and doing your job every single day of the week.
All right, guys, real quick, we'll have Graham
Thank you.
to the side, and we'll have Devon take the podium.
How y'all doing? Good.
You want to take it front row? Go to Matt Baker to your right there.
Hey, Devin. They obviously had a lot of success running the ball, 300-something yards. What did you see from your run defense tonight?
I think the coaches put us in a great spot. The play calls and, just the leverages and assignments. I think the coaches put us in a great spot. We prepared very well during the week. The coaches worked so hard to put the game plan together. And I think it's really just on us as players to go out there and execute. It doesn't matter what the game plan is if we can't execute as players.
What did it kind of do to the defense to get on its heels a little bit with the third downs early on, and they just kind of continue to kind of keep drives sustained?
As a defense, we got to be, just more resilient. Even when they do complete 1 or 2 third downs, the drive's still not over. We got to finish drives better and don't let those third down completions lead to points. Every defense is going to give up third downs here and there. But, as a defense, it's on us to, eliminate how much more they can do with the drive.
And just for a defense, how demoralizing, I guess, is a play like the long touchdown right after you guys scored and seemed to have a little bit of juice there?
It can definitely affect us a little bit, but, that's why we play the game. We can't let it affect us. It's next play mentality. Figure out what went wrong on the play and make sure it doesn't happen again.
We'll go to Ella, third row to your left.
Just talk about, had some extra time with the weather delay. By then the defense was struggling a little bit. Was there anything discussed during that delay to really, try to improve what had been happening up to that point?
Oh, yeah, for sure. The coaches had their iPads. They just went over with us what they were seeing. And like I kind of said earlier, the coaches can put together the perfect game plan, You know, they work countless hours on it. It's just on us as players to, you know, for instance, in the run game, just to make those tackles, get off blocks, you know, have gap integrity. And so, yeah, we went over some stuff during the Lightning delay.
And then you mentioned execution. There's been some mistakes. There was obviously the holding on 4th down, the targeting near the end of the half, both of which led to touchdowns. As the season progresses, what is the defense? I know you said the coaching has been solid. So as players, what typically needs to happen, especially now heading on the road, to prevent those mistakes from occurring again?
Yeah, I think, Graham harped on it earlier. It's just the weekly process. You gotta lock yourself in the facility, and every little resource that's available, because the coaches provide so many for us. You gotta take full advantage of it. Work countless hours for it, and just be able to go out there on Saturday and just apply it.
A lot of missed tackles today. I mean, how concerning is that, and how do you guys get that fixed?
It comes down to just execution. We work tackling drill every day, tackling stations every day in practice, and it's just on us as the players to, if we got to stay after and do some more, then that has to happen. So.
Wegman was a game-time decision today. Did you guys feel as if you were prepared as you should have been for a mobile quarterback and Reed?
Oh yeah, for sure. Our coaches, they looked at that during the week. The reports of him being questionable. So in scout team and just throughout practice, we were preparing for both quarterbacks to play. Like all the quarterback read game, all the quarterback keep game, we definitely prepared for that too. We just got to execute as players.
What would you say to fans questioning the direction of the program under Billy?
We just got to keep going. Keep just trusting us. We got to stay together. It's not always going to be bright sunny days, but you got to ride out the rainstorms. And us as a team, we have to get better and just trust our coaching more and go out there and execute. It's really on us as the players. The players got to execute. That's why we play the game.
When you hear all the criticism, the heat, boos even tonight, I mean, Billy's walking in, people are booing him. I mean, it's pretty unsavory. How do you guys kind of process that?
We know all the hard work Billy and the coaching staff puts in. So, just going out there to fight for them. They take hours to put together a game plan. And, as players, we need to kind of match their energy and intensity. Put in all the hours they do just so we can go out there and execute and, avoid situations like that from happening.
Time for one more, guys? All right, appreciate Devon.
Thank you. Appreciate y'all.